to the Binge List. I'm your host, Paul Chappell. And today I kind of want to get into this Jussie Smollett attack, so-called attack, because there's a lot of stuff coming out about this attack right now that don't look really good for his account of what happened. So if you're not familiar with this, I think it was January 29th. I think it was a Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning. Jussie Smollett was out at 2 a.m. in the morning going to Subway. Apparently there's a Subway near his apartment that's open all 24 hours. So he's walking to this Subway and these two men attack him. They say, "Hey, you're that Empire N-word." And I think he said they also called him the F word. Anyway, that's fine. I read that story, and up to that point, okay, it looked kind of believable that it could happen. Maybe. I mean, I looked up, my initial thought on this whole instance, I said, it's clearly some guys coming home from a bar. And I looked up the time bars closed in Chicago. Bars in Chicago, most of them close at 2 a.m. So I said, okay, that's believable. Two drunk guys walking home. They see a guy that they saw on Empire. Okay, that's weird, but okay, plausible. But then a couple of other details got added that made me not believe the story. He said that during the attack that bleach got poured on him and a noose was placed around his neck. So at this point, I'm thinking, and he also says that the guy says, "This is MAGA country." So, okay, so right then I'm thinking, okay, that sounds made up. First of all, so let's think about my prior scenario. Two guys returning from a bar. They're carrying bleach and a noose on the off chance that Jussie Smollett, a third lead on a show, a black show on Fox. Two white guys watch Empire, first of all. Secondly, like I said, they're carrying bleach and a noose on the off chance that Jussie Smollett would be dumb enough to get up at 2 a.m. and go to the Subway. Does that make any sense? So I didn't want to do a video about it. There's so many things I could do a video on that I don't do a video on because all the facts aren't in, and I don't want to look like an ass when the facts do come out. But so some facts have been coming out, and it's looking like, I'll get to that, but it's looking like his story might not be true. And there's this article that I read on the grapevine, and they just go into all these details. They go through all the same details that I had a problem with about it being the middle of a polar vortex in Chicago. The MAGA comment, the guy goes into all these details, and the police department not finding a surveillance video. Now, he lives in a very ritzy area in Chicago called Skeeterville, I think it's called. And they could not find video of the incident, which, threw up a red flag too. So I'm thinking, don't look too good. But then this writer seemed to be making some good points until they got to this section, which kind of infuriated me, but I go ahead and read it. Number 2 of the conclusion. General and healthy skepticism aside, there's something else occurring here that needs to be pointed out. There are clearly people who never believed Smollett from the beginning. Now, this could be due to an array of things. It could be something personal against him, the disconnect between fighting for black men and fighting for gay rights, or simply being swept up in the shoddy report and rumor mill about the incident. Who's to say? Okay, that just offends me. If you looked at the facts as they were reported from the very beginning, they made no sense. And the last time I felt this way was with Chloe Dykstra and Chris Hardwick. And I did a whole video on that. I don't need to relitigate that whole case, but he got cleared in that case. And I had the same misgivings. And if you want to say, well, Paul must be a conservative. I'm not a conservative. I have some conservative values. I have some liberal values. And I'm not going to tell you the way I voted. I'm just going to muddy the water here. But I'm definitely not a conservative. But there's a lot of things I have a problem with liberals. But I don't want to get too political here. I also would like to point out that I had the same reaction to this article that I read back in 2008. This McCain supporter basically claimed that a black guy saw her McCain bumper sticker, held it down to the ground, and carved a backwards B onto her face. Now, if you look at this picture, right away, it shut off my bullshit detectors, because unless they're dyslexic, who carves a backwards B into somebody's face? It was obvious to me from this picture that this girl was looking in a mirror and carved this B into her face. So I had the same reaction to Jussie Smollett. And then he did this interview on ABC. I'm not going to play the whole video because I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike by ABC. And it's so funny that Robin Roberts is the interviewer here, because she also did the thing with Liam Neeson. She's like the go-to person for these racist hate crime interviews, if you want to call it that. But I'm going to play this one section, and this made me kind of question his story even further.
When did you, because as you said, it was an accurate account of the timeline, valuable information. When did you make that information available to the police?
We had to give the phone records, which they didn't originally ask for my phone records. They asked for my phone. They wanted me to give my phone to the tech for 3 to 4 hours. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna do that.
Why?
Because I have private pictures and videos and numbers, my partner's number, my family's number, my castmates' number, my friends' numbers, my private emails, my private songs, my private voice memos. I don't know what that's going to be to hand over my phone for. And honestly, by then, inaccurate, false statements had already been put out there.
Earlier this week, he submitted phone records from within an hour of the incident. But Chicago police said they were limited and heavily redacted, adding they need additional information to corroborate the investigative timeline. His attorneys tell us they are willing to cooperate. Smollett also says he has been troubled by inaccurate claims.
So I'm going to stop it here because, look, initially I agree with him. There's no reason to turn over your phone. What does that have to do with the attack? But then it occurred to me, the police don't believe him. Police are not stupid, okay? I'm not saying Chicago is completely clean. You did have that incident where they shot the kid in the street. That I forgot what the cop's name was. The cop recently got convicted. He got 6 years in prison. He shot this kid 16 times, and it was on video. So Chicago's not completely, Chicago PD, they're not completely clean. But at the same time, I started thinking, first of all, why would they want his phone? And my thinking on it was, I immediately thought, either they want to corroborate that he was on the phone with his manager, or they want to check his calls because maybe there were some attackers and maybe he was in on it. Because there is no way two guys are going to be carrying around bleach. Like I've already said this, but let me emphasize this. There's no way 2 white guys are waiting around at 2 a.m. in the morning with bleach and a noose on the off chance that this actor on a show they probably don't watch is going to go to Subway in the middle of the night. There is no way. There is no way. I just can't. It does not, no matter how many times you look at it, it does not make any sense. And he says in this interview that he didn't know the race of the attackers. Okay, if they're wearing ski masks, maybe. But if it's in a well-lit, okay, one thing about the ski mask thing, he says he couldn't tell the race. You can still see the skin part around their eyes. Did he not see that? If it was lit enough for them to recognize him as the actor from Empire, it must have been lit enough for him to see the race of the attackers around their eyes. So that in itself does not make a lot of sense. Okay. So my point here is this is not looking good for him. But getting back to the phone records, I'm thinking the police, either they want to corroborate his statement about being on the phone with his managers, or he knew the attackers and he's had conversations with the attackers. Because the police don't care about his gay lover. The police don't care about the numbers of his family members or the actors on Empire. Are you kidding me? Really? So I'm suspicious to why he didn't want his phone turned over. So this report came out, I think, earlier yesterday, and it confirmed everything I was starting to think. Report. New evidence suggests Jussie Smollett was allegedly an active participant in a parent assault. So it's not looking good. I'm not saying, let me just go ahead and say, I'm not saying it didn't happen. But at this point, come on. I mean, come on. I reserve the right to be wrong about this, but I really don't think I am. And you just to bring up a couple more details that have come out in this article. They raided the houses of these two brothers, and they're Nigerian. Okay, so two Nigerian guys said racist and homophobic thing. Okay, the homophobia thing is possible, because if you know anything about Nigeria, I think they really don't like gays in Nigeria. But they called them the N-word. Okay, black people use the N-word. But not two Nigerians? Two Nigerians? And then this little tidbit. Chicago detectives are now investigating the lead that the Unsadero brothers, one of whom previously appeared on Empire in 2015 as an extra, purchased the rope that was found around Smollett's neck after his alleged attack at the hands of two men who assaulted him while spewing racist and homophobic slurs. The new direction of the investigation is now based on the premise that Mr. Smollett was an active participant in the incident, a law enforcement source told Deadline Saturday. Additionally, lawyers representing Smollett were contacted by law enforcement on Saturday, who issued a formal request for the actor to resubmit the questions by detectives. In preparation for doing so, the 36-year-old actor retained attorneys Victor P. Henderson and Todd Pug, two Chicago-based lawyers who specialize in criminal defense. We'll keep you updated as this story develops. So that's it. I just want to point out that I said in the Chris Hardwick video that I did a while back, at the time that was the most viewed video on my channel, before it was eclipsed by the Kevin Spacey video, and then eclipsed by some other videos I've done since then. But I just want to reiterate the fact that people lie. Now, I like the Me Too era. I think we got some dirt bags out of Hollywood that should have been taken down, like Weinstein and Bill Cosby. But this whole thing about believing victims, no matter what, no. This is why you shouldn't always believe victims, or so-called victims, because people just lie. And the number one reason people lie is for attention. And even on this site, The Root, they had a whole story about people who have lied, like specifically it was like white women who lied about black men raping them. They had a whole list of women who've done that. You know, so people lie about rape, people lie about hate crimes. People just lie, you know. It's a fact of life, and I think there should be some healthy skepticism on everybody's part. So when you read these stories, this just parlays back into my whole indictment of the outrage culture on the internet. Just don't believe everything you read on the internet. Hold that outrage until all the facts are in. Because right now, it's not looking good for Jussie Smollett. But anyway, enough about that. That's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.